Tyrese Maxey.
It's been up and down with Tyrese Maxey.
Mm-hmm.
So,
he's been very inefficient.
Yeah, he started off the year first 8 to 10 games of the season, was shooting a lot. Obviously, they didn't have Paul George and Joel, but he wasn't efficient at all. He still isn't efficient.
Yeah.
So, and then he got hurt. He missed a couple games. Now he's back, and he might not even be the premier guard on the Sixers right now.
Somehow, yeah.
Right, like his shooting numbers, like his points per game is actually higher than McCain, but his shooting numbers are way more inefficient.
Yes.
He always has that quick burst of energy, which I love. Gets downhill, gets to the rim, but he's missing those, like the interior finishes. Just feels like he hasn't quite been as good as last year.
Oh, definitely not as good as last year. Yeah. He's stepped up late in the game a couple of times.
He's still the go-to guy right now for the Sixers.
Mm-hmm. He's hit some big shots at the end of games, made a lot of clutch free throws to close out games. So of the Sixers' 6 wins, they could have less without Tyrese Maxey. So he's being asked a lot.
Yeah.
And so I think we do have to factor that into his grade with the expectations. He's not supposed to be the number 1 on the team. He's supposed to be the number 2.
And people have him, like, they've seen tape on him for over a year now, right? It's not like he's a rookie anymore in the league. Yeah. You've never seen him before. So, players, you can start to pick up on tendencies. And so it gets harder as you've been in the league a couple more years. That's why superstars are so crazy, because it's like, man, they keep doing this even though everybody knows what they're going to be doing. Yeah. So Tyrese, he hasn't been a superstar so far this year. I think that's a very I don't think that's controversial. I think that's just like a fact, really.
Yeah. I would say the fact that he hasn't been a superstar, and that would you say he was a superstar last year, or like borderline superstar last year? So I would say because of that, I don't think we can put him in the A.
I agree.
Category. He can't get higher than a 90.
Well,
somewhere in the B range.
Are we basing this based off of our expectation of where they should be and how they've lived up to that, or just them as a player in general?
I think expectations have to be factored in because
so them as a player, but expectations factored in.
Yeah. Okay. I think that a guy performing well in his role, like an average role player, you could give him an A because he's doing what he's supposed to do well. You wouldn't give a role player a C just because he's not scoring 25 a game. So I think we want to grade them based off of the expectations.
All right. I think he's been very inefficient.
Yes.
So for that reason, I think I'm going to go with like a B-, because the expectation is, okay, man, if he takes the extra step, we literally have a superstar player. Like that would be an A. Yeah. Right. He hasn't done that. He's actually underperformed a little bit. I don't think it's fair to give Tyrese anything in the C category.
I would agree.
So I'm going to go with a solid 81, 82 B-, because, he's too good to be a mediocre player. Like, he's a really good player. He's just been inefficient. So I'm going to go with the B-.
I like that. I agree. I think that I'm mostly going to side with your official ruling, like, all right, this is our.
And we can merge them too. So if you think he's a B,
we average it out.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I would also go B-. I'll go with 82, so we can like an average, a B- 82.
Yep.
For Tyrese Maxey, because he hasn't been like atrocious, but definitely below expectations, and you wouldn't be thrilled with his performance so far. So B- feels fair. Next, the big man, Joel Embiid. This grade is going to be interesting. Obviously, health factors in.
Right. Well, he's played, 4 or 5? 4 games still.
So his
4 games.
In school, you have the in-class participation grade, the attendance. He's not doing well in attendance or in-class participation.
No, I think he would have been kicked out of the school at this point.
Well, he's kicked out of the award eligibility, so that's basically the same. That's very similar.
Yes, because I mean, if you miss this much time in school, like, you're just not even, they kick you out of the school. You're not a member of the school anymore, right? Yeah. So I mean, Joel Embiid, is he even a part of this team? Because it doesn't seem like he wants to be. He, even in the 4 games that he has played, the very small sample size that we've seen, he hasn't been good. He hasn't been good on defense, which is where he's supposed to be the anchor, right? For this team. Last year, you saw splits when he was on and off the court of just dramatic numbers. They were
every year.
They were like -7 or -8 without Embiid, and then they were +7 with Embiid. Like it was a 15, 16 point swing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that in the 4 games that he's played. He looked slow. He looked out of shape. And there's been reports from the team that he has been late to practice. He's obviously dealing with tons of knee problems. And, you can't put that all on Joel. And I'm sure that's frustrating for him, to be dealing with that. He's been injury riddled his entire career. And like, if I was in his shoes, I'd be so mad. I would just want to be playing. I don't know if Embiid wants to be playing. Like, he just doesn't seem like he has any willingness to perform, be there. He just is kind of there. He's just sitting the bench, not really doing a whole lot. And he's supposed to be the leader of this team.
I think that he does want to play. We've seen him play through so many injuries in previous years. Like, he's played through some ridiculous things. So I don't think it's entirely fair to throw all of that out from previous seasons.
But you have reports earlier this year.
Those are concerning.
Yeah, that he's never going to play a back-to-back. And he said that. That was his words. He's like, I'm never playing a back-to-back again in my career.
I think you can spin that, though, as he's evaluated, okay, in previous seasons, I keep getting hurt, and then I'm hurt in the playoffs. So he's like, I think that he's trying to do what's best for the team and pull back in the regular season so that he can be healthy, because all he cares about is winning a championship.
Yeah, but I don't think that's his decision to make. Like, there's literally coaches. He's not the coach. Like,
did the coaches push back and say like that they disagreed with this decision?
I don't think so. I think it was a conjoint decision. But him saying that to the media, like, I'm never playing,
not a good PR move.
No, and then you also
That's
like,
true.
What is that? How does that look like to other teams? Like you're just what? It looks like you're soft. Like, it looks like you're soft as a Sixers fan base. So, I don't support what he was saying there. Even if he's never, like, that's okay. It's just like, man, like, look at all this revenue. Like, even the entire, like, 76ers organization, like, what, you're not going to be able to sell quite as many tickets even. Like, you're hurting everybody. Like, you're hurting the coach, the general manager. Like, you're hurting the entire team when you're not playing. So anyway, Embiid's been very frustrating, obviously. Expectation was, hey, he's going to be okay for the season. He's not going to play back-to-backs, but he'll be all right.
When he does play.
Right. He'll be great when he does play.
Yeah.
He hasn't been great when he's played. Yeah. He hasn't even looked like an all-star caliber player. So that being said, I'm going to go pretty low here.
Yeah.
Like, it's, for me, originally I wanted to say F, but I can't do that because, it's still Embiid and he's still a really good player when he plays. He's only played 4 games. Like, so
not much to go.
I don't know. Like, it might have to be an F because he's only played 4 games and he hasn't been good in those 4 games. So it might have to default be an F, but I'm gonna give him like a D-.
That's exactly. I was gonna go D- because
I don't want to give him an F.
I think it would be F if he hadn't played at all.
Yeah. I mean, it would have to.
Like, he did try to come back and it didn't go well, and they were like, all right, scrap that. We gotta have him sit again. So yeah, I think D- is.
I want to see better leadership though. Like, he's the best player. Like, we got to see some leadership from him. Showing up to practice late makes me so mad. Like, why would you do that? As
we talked about that in the last episode. Yeah.
What is that? What does that set? Like, what precedent does that set? Anyway, we'll move on from Embiid.
We could rant about Embiid.
He's been frustrating
a long time, and I'm sure we will be having more discussions about Embiid in future episodes. So there will be plenty to talk about with that. D- for Joel Embiid. I think that's very fair, unfortunately.
Yep.
Paul George. We start out with the big 3. We have to. They're the most important to this team. Paul George is very interesting because he's had up and down games. He, like Embiid, hasn't played, hyperextended his knee twice, but there have also been very good flashes that we've seen. So I think there's a lot of things to work through.
Yeah, I've seen flashes. The other night he had he dropped like 29 or 31 or something like that. But his defense, man.
Yep.
It's so fun to watch. Like, I've seen flashes of that Indiana Pacers Paul George. And maybe it's only been 2 minutes at a time, but
it's there.
It's there. Like, I've seen it, So it gives me some hope, especially if his injury doesn't seem quite as bad as Embiid's. I don't know what's going on with Embiid, but he's hyperextended his knee, obviously, as Owen just said. I think long term, though, think he's going to be okay. As long as he can just continue to stay healthy. I really like what he's doing out there on the court. He gets his buckets, but he doesn't take away from everybody else. He picks and chooses his spots. Very active hands, long wing. Can dig in on the defensive end, but is a good shot creator. Good, I know I said his shot wasn't smooth. I don't know what I was. It's smooth, okay. It was because he was in Los Angeles. That's why.
It just didn't look right there.
It didn't look right in that jersey, in the Clippers jersey, okay?
Because they look so different than the Sixers.
In the Sixers jersey, though. No, in the Sixers jersey, I'm telling you, man, he looked smooth. So I do like what I see. He obviously hasn't played as much as some of the other guys. He's been out about half of the season. So
that, I think that has to take away.
It does
the fact that he has missed time.
But it's a lot better than Embiid. A lot better.
Yeah. I think we're with Maxey being a B- as our baseline.
Right.
I feel comfortable having Paul George be a B, slightly above Maxey.
I agree.
Based on expectations.
I think it's a low B though. It's like an 84. Maxey was an 82.
Misses. Okay.
Yeah, because he's played less than Maxey, right? But he has looked really solid, and he's lived up to my expectations when he's been out there. So I think 84 is good. If he would have been playing more, didn't get injured, could have been up into the A range, but 84 is a good number.
I like that. A solid B for Paul George.
Yep.